Welcome once again to How to Relate to Anyone. Here is Dr.
Well, here we go again. Another 20 minutes program on how to relate to anyone. Probably the most important relationship you'll ever have is family relationships. They're with you through thick and thin. Well, most families are, or many families are, I should say. In our society today, it's hard to really tell. But with first families and second families and third families and in-laws and outlaws and stepchildren, and it's a challenge. It's a real challenge to have a good family structure where everybody feels appreciated and everybody feels a part of the family. And but it's so important for our emotional health to have that foundation of family. I believe it's a God creation thing of creating a family structure. And if you're not a God person, well then from a psychological base, you need the family foundation in order to feel secure and complete. And when it's missing, then behavior changes in a negative way, and normally it's destructive. So we want to talk about the most important relationship in your world is family. Over 52% of our population are separated or divorced within 10 years in our society today. Why is that happening? Well, we could go 4 or 5 hours on that subject, but the primary thing is choosing to love in the beginning. If you fall into love, you're really, if you want to be honest, you're really falling into lust. She's beautiful, he's handsome. Sex appeal is sex appeal. And we have to be realistic, it's there. And most people get married and then find out who they're married to, which means they didn't fall in love with that person because they didn't even know the person. And I've heard often in counseling, she changed over the last 2 years. He changed over the last 2. No, they didn't change. You just got to know them a little better, that's all. You didn't spend long enough to get to know them in the beginning. The hugs and kisses and all whatever else went on that was sex appealing was a high, and you could hardly wait to get together and hardly wait to get together again. And now you get up in the morning with bad breath and messed up hair and whatever. And it's not the same. Of course not. But the thing that can be the same is if we choose to love, and it's something you choose to do, it's not something you fall into or fall out of. I hear people often in counseling saying, I've just fallen out of love. No, you weren't in love in the first place. If you chose to love, you can't fall out of choosing of what you've chose. You can fall out of what you fell into because you can fall back out. But if you choose to love, and how do you choose to love somebody so that that relationship is so solid that nothing can destroy it? Even stupid mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my years of marriage. I don't know how my wife has handled it. She just handled it. But then she's made a few mistakes too that I could list. But it doesn't do any good to list those mistakes because that doesn't change them. It doesn't change today. All it does is remind us of yesterday, and we want to go forward, not backwards. So that problem doesn't have to be a problem in your life. It does not have to be a problem in your life. Alienated children is another problem, another breakdown where in the family where relationships just don't matter anymore. Yeah, I got a kid. Can hardly wait until he's gone. I've heard those things. You had to put up with the teenagers I'm putting up with. If you would, I got a son-in-law that's just killing me. Just wiping me out. Here's a lot of that. Why is that happening? Nobody chooses to, today I'm going to destroy my mom. Today I'm going to destroy my dad. Today I'm going to destroy my stepfather. Nobody chooses to do that. It's a trap they fall into in self-defense because they feel they're being dumped on or not appreciated or whatever the cause. So understanding that these problems are real problems in our society today, and the family ties are untied in many cases. So what we have to do is focus on the positives and ignore the negatives, because nobody is you. My wife has habits that she's had since she was a teenage girl or a child that drive me crazy. But they're not going to change. She's not going to change. I can't change her. If I try changing her, all I do is end up alienating her. Can't do that. What I have to do is you look for positives and ignore the negatives. I have a friend on the East Coast who snores really loud. I mean, rattles the windows. And his wife says, I just feel really secure when I hear that snoring. How's that for a love motivation? Yeah, I could fall in love with that lady just because of her attitude. And I'll tell you what, real love is always enhanced with right attitudes. Real love. It's just frosting on the cake. So the concepts and principles that heal relationships are lengthy, and I've done a lot of counseling, and you know, and counseling sometimes goes over a period of time, and working through hang-ups and things that bother me, and I don't like, and I wish I hadn't, and I wish I could, all those pie in the sky things that aren't real life. What you have to do is establish a foundation of your relationship that is secure. And no matter what you do, I'm here. If I can't make that kind of commitment, I shouldn't be married. So there's principles that, when applied in any relationship, build security, build togetherness, build a unity relationship. And that's what we desire, because that's where real happiness. When you lay your head on the pillow at night, you need to be at peace. You need to feel good about life. You need to feel good about the person lying next to you. Well, the breakdown causes are many, and we could go through a whole laundry list of that, but the way you counteract those causes for breakdowns is with positive decision making, acceptance of differences. My wife has a lot of appraiser. She says, you better start getting ready to go. We got to get in the car and get going. I'm out in the car, and the car's warming up, and its heater's now working, and she's still getting ready to go. She's just slow. She just moves at her pace. And if I want to have peace in the home, I have to accept her pace. She has to accept my pace when she says, why don't we, and I'm halfway there already. And she's running along behind me. High intensity of emotion, low intensity of emotion. It's a difference. And you know, she can't change that. And I can't change my high intensity of emotion. And you can't change your intensity of emotion, whatever it is, whether it's high or low. High intense people say, let's go, gone. Low intensity people say, well, we're getting ready to go sooner or later. We have to appreciate our spouse's strengths, because everybody has strengths. If you build a relationship on your spouse's strengths, you're going to build a solid relationship because that's constant. And then the other thing that we can do as love-motivated family members is encourage personal growth, not only in our spouse, but in our children, and in our children's children, and in our stepchildren, and step-brother-in-laws, and step-sister-in-laws, and all those people who come into the family who know nothing about the family, but there they are all of a sudden at all the Thanksgiving dinners and whatever. Encourage personal growth, encourage working relationships, encourage acceptance. After all, we're talking about life here. And you also have to accept the negatives, the downside of everybody. Family gives acceptance. True family is a source of acceptance. You count on it, you live for it. You just are accepted as you are. Just lost a bunch of weight just recently. Go ahead, Sid. Thank you. Some people out there said, you're looking good. I don't mean the people in the room here. I'm talking about people who are watching this video. And so I've gone through some changes. And change is good if it's constructive. It's easier to get out of a chair now and pick things up off the floor. All kinds of good things are happening because I've lost some weight. Well, you know, acceptance of where you are right now is vitally important, whether you're overweight or underweight, too much here and not enough there, and all those other things that people pay a lot of attention to. You have to be able to accept you just as you are today, because you can't change who you are today. Now, in-laws and outlaws, the in-laws are the ones you get along with, the outlaws are the ones you don't. And, you know, if you're watching this, you got some in-laws that you really don't enjoy spending that much time with. Well, I would tell you, just love the socks off of them. They won't know how to act, because nobody else is doing that, obviously. Brother or sister-in-laws, they can be a headache. I have a lot of in-laws, and each of them are unique. Look for uniqueness and appreciate the uniqueness of what each person brings to the family. It's kind of exciting, all the things that some of these people have brought into our family that we never had before in the way of opportunities and exposure and knowledge and information. Tremendous. People who have bad habits bother me. I hear that all the time. Well, if you choose to be bothered by bad habits, you'll probably be unhappy most of the time, because most of us have some bad habits. Oh, not you. Well, everybody except you, I guess. So you either tolerate those bad habits or even appreciate them in some cases. You know, I got an in-law who chews snuff or whatever it is, the stuff under the lip that sticks its way out. It doesn't stay under the lip. And it's kind of a nasty habit. And as far as I'm concerned, I can't imagine wanting to put something like that in my mouth. But gotta love the socks off this guy. He's just a good guy, genuine guy, hardworking man, loves his family. We went through the 5 motivations early in this course, and then again in the middle of it. And I just want to remind you, the fatalist, the person who runs from responsibility, all you can do in that case with family members is take the responsibility for them, because you're not going to change them. The exasperator who argues you about everything, let them win. That's real easy. Let them win the first argument of the day, they're good all day. the appraiser who corrects you on everything you say. And I have about 5 things pop in my mind right there. People who corrected me in the last week. Just say thank you. They're trying to help you. And then the relator, of course, is the one who's leaning on your shoulder and hugging you and then hugging you again and hugging you on your way in and hugging you on your way out. And those are all good hugs, incidentally. They're just relators. They just love people and they love you and they love loving. And just look for the positives in each of those 5 motivations and deal with it. And as you do, you're going to solidify those relationships, and all of a sudden the things that are different from you don't matter anymore. They just don't really matter. You know, it's a matter of acceptance of people right where they are. Not trying to make them meet your standard, your specs, your behavior, your do's and your don'ts, your values, your wants, your needs. Can't do that. Because as soon as you do, you're going to alienate and have a breakdown in relationships. Just accept people right where they are. If you can recognize the cause of any breakdown and deal with it, you can solidify that relationship and heal it. You have that ability to create a healing of relationships. I had a guy that was so mad at me, he just wouldn't even talk to me. And so I just forced myself on him in a crowded room. We were in a room, and he couldn't just be rude. Oh, he could, but he didn't. And I simply say, you know, the thing I appreciate most about you. He says, what's that? You are so consistent. I can count on you to be the same person today that you were yesterday. You know, there's very few people that are that consistent. He said, well, I work at it. And I said, I can tell you do. And we started talking, and the communication went on and on. We stood there and talked for about a half an hour. First time he's talked to me in years, by just giving a compliment, giving acceptance, giving recognition for some of his strengths. I never give compliments that aren't real, because people can see through those so fast. Always give compliments that build up and edify, but are based upon fact. It's very important in building these kind of relationships. And you know, those people who are your family have been out there facing the world all day and all week. And now they're on the weekend and they're trying to catch their breath, and they're beat up and bleeding and wounded. Boy, what you can do in a way of giving them acceptance and healing love that lifts, that edifies, that makes a person feel more complete. You have that power, and you either use it or abuse it. The problem is most of us don't realize we have that power, and so we don't use it. So it lies dormant. That's too bad. Marriage partners are marriage partners, and the partnership is solidified physically, emotionally, and spiritually if you're going to have a real successful relationship. And that when that happens, when that unity is created where the two become one, as the marriage ceremony says, the two become one, the children want to get in the circle. It's only when dad's saying, hey, stupid, fix me some food, that they don't want to be attached to anybody. We destroy our children's relationships with us. We also build our relationships with our children on purpose. And the purpose is, by loving my wife, it causes my children to love us in unity more. And now we have unity not only in the marriage, but also in the children. And that goes to the grandchildren, and now I have great-grandchildren, and my granddaughter has 3 and a 4th one on the way, and she has taught those children, when Grandpa Orv comes, you tell him how much you love him. And they do. They come up and kiss me on the cheek and tell me how much they love me. Where did she learn that? She learned that from her parents, who learned that from their parents. Her dad, actually, and my family. What a great thing. It makes life worthwhile. And all the hard times and all of the harassments and all the disappointments seem to kind of dim down when you have a grandchild come and kiss you on the cheek. It just makes for a whole lot of lovely living. And that's what life should be. That's what we want. We want to be love motivated and just encompass everybody in our world with love. When you do that, you'll receive the great rewards of peace, joy, and happiness.